On a scorching summer day in New Mexico back in 1947, something unusual plummeted from the sky. What started as a peaceful morning on a secluded ranch near Roswell would spark years of speculation, government cover-ups, and public intrigue. The discovery of strange debris, metallic, light, and unlike anything anyone had ever seen, set off a series of events that would forever alter our perception of the skies. Military officials acted fast, releasing statements only to retract them just as quickly, leaving a trail of more questions than answers. Was it really a weather balloon, as they claimed? Or was it something far more remarkable? As the tale unfolded, witnesses came forward, whispers of alien bodies began to circulate, and the U.S. government's secrecy only added to the enigma. This is the Roswell story, not merely a crash in the desert, but a pivotal moment that divided history into before and after. A mystery hidden beneath the sands and silence, just waiting to be revealed. Chapter 1, The Calm Before the Storm. In the summer of 1947, Roswell, New Mexico, was a sleepy little town nestled in the vast, sun-baked landscape of the American Southwest. Life here moved at a leisurely pace. The folks were down-to-earth, hard-working, and had a strong bond with the land. Kids played in dusty backyards, ranchers looked after their cattle, and as the sun set, the air filled with the sweet scent of mesquite and the soothing sounds of cicadas under a blanket of stars. Not much ever happened in Roswell, and most residents were perfectly content with that. The end of World War II had brought a wave of relief, but the murmurs of a new kind of struggle, the Cold War, were starting to make their way into conversations. Yet for the people of Roswell, those distant worries felt like a world away. Their focus was on the here and now, crop harvests, family get-togethers, and the weather. Radios crackled with the latest tunes and baseball updates, not with chatter about visitors from outer space. On the outskirts of town, where the land stretched endlessly toward the horizon, a rancher named Mac Brazel began his day just like any other. He had no inkling that this morning would be anything out of the ordinary. As he saddled up his horse and rode across the wide-open fields, his mind was occupied with thoughts of mending fences and rounding up sheep. But just beyond a familiar ridge, something caught his eye, a glimmer in the dirt that didn't quite belong to the earth or the sky. The tranquility that defined Roswell was on the verge of being shattered. Something had fallen in the desert, and life as they knew it would never be the same. Chapter 2, Crash in the Desert. Mac Brazel carefully climbed off his horse, his gaze locked onto the peculiar debris scattered across the parched ground before him. The desert was no stranger to broken tools, random junk, or the occasional downed weather balloon. But this was something else entirely. Metallic strips, some as thin as paper yet astonishingly strong, sparkled in the sunlight. There were pieces that glimmered like silver, and others marked with symbols he couldn't decipher. No signs of fire, no typical wreckage, just a vast expanse of fragments, as if something had exploded in the sky and showered down upon the sand. Brazel reached out to touch one of the pieces, taken aback by how light it felt, almost as if it were floating. Some fragments crumpled in his grip but sprang back to their original form as if they had never been touched. He glanced around, feeling a sense of unease. There was no smoke, no evidence of a fire, and no sign of life. Whatever had landed here was unlike anything he had ever encountered. He collected a few samples and made his way back to the ranch. When he shared his findings with the neighbors, their reactions varied. Some were intrigued, while others were clearly alarmed. Word spread quickly. Eventually, the local sheriff got wind of the discovery and, unsure of what to do next, reached out to the nearby Roswell Army airfield. Within hours, the desert transformed into a scene of urgency. Soldiers arrived, secured the area, and began gathering every scrap they could find. Mac Brazel observed from a distance as the military took charge, leaving the mystery in their hands. Chapter 3, Military Moves In. The arrival of the United States Army was quick and unexpected. Military vehicles rolled into Roswell, their presence felt long before they came into view. At the debris site, soldiers spread out across the desert, meticulously searching every inch of land. What had once been a quiet field was now alive with activity. guarded by uniformed personnel who offered no answers and no explanations. Locals who dared to approach were turned away, some receiving stern warnings to forget what they had seen or heard. Mac Brazel was brought in for questioning. He wasn't arrested, but he was kept away from the public and told not to talk to reporters. By the time he made it back to town, his story had shifted. The once confident rancher, who had described strange, flexible metals and otherworldly fragments, now seemed to downplay his discovery. Some said he appeared confused, while others thought he looked genuinely scared. Back at the crash site, everything was being loaded onto military trucks. Soldiers packed debris into crates, sealed them up, and drove them away under tight security. Eyewitnesses whispered about tarps covering oddly shaped objects and the visible tension on the officers' faces. The wreckage was reportedly flown to Wright Field in Ohio, where high-ranking officials would take a closer look. The Army then issued a brief statement to the press, announcing that a flying disc had been recovered near Roswell. Newspapers jumped on the story, igniting a wave of excitement and speculation. But the celebration didn't last long. The very next day, the military released a correction, claiming it was not a flying disc but just a weather balloon. This quick turnaround left the public feeling confused and suspicious. The mystery was far from resolved. Chapter 4, The Official Story. The day after the big announcement, the military quickly shifted gears. Their press releases now insisted that the mysterious debris found near Roswell was just a weather balloon, a standard tool for atmospheric research. Those sensational headlines about flying saucers disappeared almost overnight. Journalists who had rushed to cover the story found themselves with limited access and were told to report the new narrative without question. For many, this sudden change raised eyebrows. The military's original statement had been so detailed and dramatic, mentioning a flying disc, that the swift retraction felt fishy. Local residents who had seen soldiers hauling away strange materials began to murmur that something was being concealed. Yet, official channels stood firm, stressing national security and the need to keep certain projects under wraps. Meanwhile, the Air Force insisted that no alien spacecraft had ever been discovered. The weather balloon explanation, while believable to some, left a lot of questions hanging. What about the unusual materials that Brazel described? Why had the military cordoned off the area so tightly? And why did eyewitness accounts differ so much? Despite the reassurances, public curiosity only intensified. The Roswell incident had morphed into a mystery, paving the way for decades of speculation about what truly went down in those remote New Mexico deserts. Chapter 5, Whispers and Witnesses. As the official narrative took root in the minds of the public, an alternative story began to creep out from the shadows. Locals exchanged whispers about strange lights that danced in the night sky in the days after the crash. Ranchers and townsfolk spoke cautiously of odd figures spotted near the crash site, small, humanoid shapes that moved in a way that felt unsettlingly off. Some even claimed to have seen military personnel hauling covered stretchers, stoking rumors that something far more shocking than mere debris had been retrieved. These accounts were often brushed aside or ignored, yet they lingered, quietly shared from one person to another. Witnesses were wary of being ridiculed or, worse, facing government backlash, so many kept their stories under wraps for years. Eventually, some mustered the courage to share their experiences publicly, recounting eerie encounters and strange phenomena linked to the crash. The growing collection of eyewitness accounts painted a vivid picture of fear and confusion. People began to wonder if the government was concealing the truth to safeguard national security or to hide something beyond comprehension. The whispers laid the groundwork for a legend that refused to fade, igniting debates, investigations, and an unyielding search for answers. The small town of Roswell, once a quiet and forgotten place, had transformed into the heart of a mystery that captured the world's imagination. Chapter 6, Cover-Up or Confusion. As the years rolled on, the Roswell incident stayed buried under a mountain of official statements and conflicting reports. Both investigators and journalists worked tirelessly to uncover the truth, but the path was muddied by classified documents and contradictory testimonies. Some folks believed the government had pulled off a calculated cover-up to hide evidence of extraterrestrial life, while others argued that a mix of confusion and miscommunication was at the heart of the mystery. Researchers dug up records of secret military projects, like high-altitude balloons used for surveillance during the early Cold War. While these projects explained some of the debris, they didn't quite match up with eyewitness accounts of strange objects and beings. Declassified files often led to more questions than answers, revealing altered reports and missing documents. Whistleblowers stepped forward, claiming to have first-hand knowledge of the crash and what followed. Their accounts spoke of alien bodies, recovery teams working under tight secrecy, and immense pressure to keep the whole event under wraps. Skeptics raised eyebrows at their credibility, but the persistence of these claims only fueled rampant speculation. The Roswell incident morphed into a symbol of distrust in government transparency, a riddle that blurred the lines between fact and fiction. Whether it was a cover-up or just genuine confusion, the mystery lingered on, capturing attention from around the globe and inspiring a multitude of theories. Chapter 7: Truth in the Shadows. Decades after the initial crash, new evidence started to emerge, casting a fresh light on the long-standing mystery. Declassified government documents, released after persistent Freedom of Information requests, unveiled details about secret projects and experimental aircraft. While none of these files confirmed the existence of extraterrestrial technology, they did reveal a tangled web of covert programs aimed at monitoring Soviet threats during the Cold War. Simultaneously, whistleblowers and former military personnel stepped forward with testimonies that challenged the official story. Some claimed to have knowledge of recovered bodies that didn't match any known species and spoke of high-level directives to keep everything under wraps. These accounts, though contentious, sparked renewed public interest and led to congressional hearings focused on government transparency. Documentaries, books, and interviews brought the Roswell incident back into the limelight, examining every angle from cover-up to conspiracy. Historians and experts engaged in debates over the evidence, weighing facts against speculation. While concrete proof of alien visitation remained out of reach, the tale had transformed into a symbol of humanity's curiosity and fear of the unknown. The truth, it appeared, was lurking in the shadows, part revelation, part enigma, inviting each new generation to ponder what truly transpired on that fateful night in 1947. Chapter 8: The Legacy of Roswell. The Roswell incident has transformed from just a puzzling event into a cultural phenomenon that continues to spark curiosity around the globe. It's not just a story, it's a source of inspiration for countless movies, TV shows, books, and conventions, all weaving the tale into the fabric of science fiction and popular culture. When you think of Roswell, images of alien spaceships, hidden government secrets, and the age-old question of whether we're alone in the universe come to mind. Even after all these years of debate, the incident stands as a symbol of skepticism towards official narratives and a rallying cry for transparency. It has shaped how people perceive government secrecy and the mysteries that lie beyond our understanding. In Roswell, museums and tourist spots attract visitors eager to dive into the history and intrigue, keeping the legend alive right where it all started. The allure of Roswell has also ignited scientific exploration and the field of ufology, prompting researchers to take a fresh look at unexplained phenomena. With government hearings, documentaries, and ongoing investigations, the quest for answers is very much alive. Roswell serves as a poignant reminder that some mysteries persist not because they can't be solved, but because they resonate with our deep-seated curiosity and sense of wonder, a legacy of the unknown that simply won't fade away. The Roswell incident stands out as one of the most captivating enigmas of the 20th century, weaving together elements of truth, myth, and lingering questions into a narrative that continues to intrigue us. Was it a covert military operation, a simple case of mistaken identity, or perhaps proof of extraterrestrial life? This event has reshaped our perceptions of the skies and the secrets that governments might be keeping. The blend of eyewitness testimonies, official reports, and years of speculation has forged a legend that just won't die. More than just a crash, Roswell embodies our innate curiosity to explore the unknown and to question the established norms. As new generations delve into this tale, the quest for answers persists, reminding us that some mysteries are eternal, waiting for that perfect moment when the truth finally emerges.